And that means we are now live here on our YouTube channel. It's our daily show we call the Halftime Report, where we go through the markets one step at a time, top-down analysis style, looking at the charts, the news, economic data, any information that's grabbing our attention we think is important and relevant. Break it all down, give you guys some insight so you can better run your daily routine. Welcome out. It's first day of the month here on April. Did either of you guys get an April Fool's prank pulled on you yet, by the way?
Yes.
It's coming.
It's coming from us, man. I know that we're going to get one from our dear mothers. She's been doing it every year since I was a little kid, Tyler. She loves them, no doubt about it. What about you, Tyler? You had one pulled on you already?
This morning, yes.
Your kids, your wife? What happened?
Well, I had to have a moment where I'm like, okay, the kids enjoy this. Don't be a freaking grumpy man and complain about what they just
Don't
did.
be the old dude.
They put soap on my door handles in my office. They wrapped my chair in cellophane. Which you know what? That's why that's why my mic was not working when we were pre-show.
Oh, is that right? Is that right?
Jacked it up.
Oh.
Well,
I see what you're doing, throwing your kids under the bus here.
Oh, I am 100% throwing my kids under the bus. It's not my fault.
So now tell me if I'm a bad father on this one then, Tyler, because you let your kids pull one over you, even though you knew, right? Mm-hmm. I walked in the kitchen. My kids were acting sketchy, and I looked right at them and said, I know it's April Fool's. I said, I know it's April Fool's. You guys better try harder than that. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. The answer is yes. Yeah. Mine's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming.
All right. By the way, welcome out, Tyler and Matt. We got the crew here today to break everything down. If you're out there and you're watching the show, if you're a veteran of the community, as you're coming on in, give me a thumbs up, hashtag Team Tackle right in the chat. Let's have a fun show here today. And if you are new to the channel, we got a lot of new people. We just crossed the 17,000 subscriber mark here this week. I believe just yesterday is what Cody was telling me. Welcome out to Tackle Trading. Glad to have you as a part of what we're doing here on a daily basis. Tyler, website real quick. Let's talk about the Huddle. This new podcast that we've been putting out on a daily basis with the top 5 stories of the day, the audio as well. You can subscribe to it. You can listen to the Huddle on any of your favorite podcasting apps or right directly on tackletrading.com. Matt, I'm loving what we're doing here. I'm excited about it. I hope people out there are listening to it and also getting some value out of it. Talk about the Huddle for just a minute, if you can.
Real simple. They get to listen to your nice little radio voice every single morning, getting caught up on the market, the top 5 storylines of the day without the bias we typically see in the media. So very excited about the Huddle. Think you do a fantastic job on it.
I liked your other mic you were just on, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really?
Was it the Logitech?
You are publicly admitting you like the Logitech mic better?
Okay. Tyler, am I right?
The other one was better. Yeah.
The other one was better. If it works.
I wanted to do this public test.
If it works, it works. All right. If it doesn't work, break it. Run it over with your truck. All right. Let's get down to business here. By the way, I'll drop the Huddle podcast link in the chat so you guys can find that content. If you're not yet a part of that, make sure you subscribe and click that download button so you get it every day right directly to your phone. 4,000 on the S&P, guys. Here we are, bounced off the 50-period moving average 6 bars ago. It's had a nice little healthy stretch after a beautiful trend for the last 4.5 months. Matt, what you read on the markets here today?
We talked about the breakout potential yesterday. We called it a breakout yesterday on the intraday. You saw the follow through with the confirmation today. Obviously, we talked about 4,000 being a potential significant hold number that could play a role, but what you're seeing on the intraday is just strength. You got momentum on the intraday chart. You're coming into that 4,000 type significant hold number, and it does look like the market's hesitating. If you look at this on a 15-minute chart really quickly, Tyler, you'll see the market hesitating a little bit as it comes into that 4,000 level. But honestly, little hesitation after that type of price moving on a breakout. You're up 30 points on the breakout. Little hesitation there at 4,000. Nothing to be too concerned about. I think it's setting up for a little bit of a run into the close this week. Market's showing their cards. We said earlier we talked about it on Monday. Healthcare showing a little bit of front running behavior in pertaining to technology. You're seeing the breakouts here. The markets are getting aligned. I think people are getting excited about this market right now.
Yeah. Tyler?
Dude, I just echo everything he just said. Me, likey. I think what's different, remember the S&P has been strong pretty much this whole time. It's been leading. What's different today is, and we'll get into it here in a second, you're seeing tech. We outlined the We outlined the storyline yesterday with tech trying to put in a bottom. You are now seeing the Nasdaq participate in this, and that I think has got to make you pretty excited about the potential for some follow through. Think about like today? So you have a couple hours left in the day. You're telling me you want to sell ahead of the weekend? Why? This is great. I don't know why this wouldn't run into the close.
Well, and Tyler, we were looking at this in the pre-production, and we were talking about the market being a little bit range up here as you were coming into that breakout of 4,000. But if you come back down to the intraday, my reading in the pre-production show was we're up less than a % on this breakout right now.
Yeah.
You're hesitating into a 4,000 level. You could this isn't one of those scenarios where it's like, oh my goodness, the market's already up 2.75%. There's no sell day, but do we really want to chase here? I don't feel like people are chasing the market right now, like in any capacity. I don't feel like they're chasing it on the intraday charts. I don't feel like they're chasing it on the daily charts. I don't feel like they're chasing it in Bitcoin. I think you got some pretty standard breakout channels happening right now, and the market's showing the market's been showing their hand over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, with the whole bond market storyline being a little bit of a nothing burger. You're starting to see markets align a little bit, but again, I come back to this breakout here. We're coming into the weekend. Obviously, markets are closed tomorrow, but we're coming into the weekend, and I don't feel like this market's overextended on any time frame right now.
Well, and if I can pivot real quick to the Nasdaq, the Nasdaq, the headline for the Nasdaq is everybody get back in the boat, right? Get back in, We're ready to go.
Well, that's what Micron said today.
Yes,
it sure did.
That's what Taiwan Semiconductor said today. They didn't have any concerns about growth in Micron's earnings report, or Taiwan saying we're going to spend your money, my money, everybody's money on growth. So it was a good storyline. But regarding the Nasdaq, remember there is that one number. There's that one number that has got to reclaim for time frame analysis, and that's 13,300. Achieving the 50-day, the 20-day in the last couple of days is showing strength above strength. That's really, really positive. But you still have that 13,300 number that has played a significant role, both in terms of short-term and a little bit longer-term resistance analysis. So we got to reclaim that. But to me, this market wants to buy here, and it's going to be a pretty good week next week, in my opinion.
That 13,300 level is obviously lining up with those pivot points over the last couple of weeks, and it's a clear line in the sand. It really is. It's a very clear line in the sand.
But like I said in pre-production, don't hesitate. Show your strength. Destroy it.
Is that an inverted head and shoulders? Or am I taking creative license?
I think sometimes we can see things that maybe be there, and you do have a little bit, but
sure. I mean, what's more important than what you call it is just the psychology behind it. You went from making lower lows to making a higher low, and that tells you something about the change in sentiment and how traders feel about it. I mean, don't you feel better about the breakouts prospects?
Not even close, 100%.
It was preceded by a higher low than versus if this thing made a lower low and then tried to ramp off?
Well, think about what I said about I don't feel like any time frame's overextended right now. If you were to come from 12,200, I think you would be a little bit overextended into this breakout. But because of the increasing in support, whether you call it an inverted head and shoulders or not, it's Tyler, great point. It's the same psychology. You still like the fact that you're running from a shorter distance.
Yeah. Well, and this is as good as the Nasdaq has looked since we topped mid-Feb, right? So you're getting the technical posture is better today than it's been in 6 weeks, right? Which is why we're pulling out the pom-poms and being a little more optimistic.
Not even that from a technical perspective. I feel like the psychology of the growth areas of the market is better than it has been in the last 6 weeks as well. If you'll recall, in the last 6 weeks, we have not had this 2-day punch where it was just like, we're not concerned, right? You've had one day in the Nasdaq where it's like, we're not concerned, and then literally by the Japanese Open later that night, you start to show concerns, right? You haven't had the ability to have 2 of these no sell days and just come with some momentum. You're starting to see that here over the last 2 days, and it is on the backs, and the psychology of the market is improving. You go look at the headlines out there, the psychology of the market's improving. 3 weeks ago, just 3 weeks ago, the entire market was puking up the 10-year note at 161. just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It hit 175 and the market went up.
Market didn't care.
Market didn't care at all. So if the market's showing you that they're not as concerned about the growth storyline as has been played out in the last 6 weeks, and they're showing their cards here to the last 2 days.
Well, and part of the strength here in tech, obviously, we're seeing it in Nasdaq, but you guys mentioned semiconductors, Matt. We'll go through Micron earnings later, and then the Taiwan Semiconductor news, obviously very good. But look at that SOX index, and this is something we've been talking about on the halftime report for weeks about the potential in semiconductors kind of rolling over, showing some strength, some leadership, catching the breakout on SMH here today in front of the NQ breakout, in front of the XLK breakout. What does that tell you guys, if anything? By the way, Matt, you first.
It tells me it's 1 day in front of the Nasdaq. That's what it tells me.
Yeah. Tyler?
The word that comes to my mind is inevitable. I mean, it is inevitable that this thing, that the Nasdaq takes out this level. And I'll hasten to add, look, I'm not a prophet. I don't know what's going to happen, but seriously,
you are the architect from the Matrix, though. Inevitable.
And I wanted Matt to talk more about this 13,300 because I swear when he was done with his diatribe, we were going to be through 13,300.
I didn't want to be talking when it broke.
Yeah, I think the semis tell you everything you want to know, man. They look good. We could also go to ARC too. I mean, actually this one's fading a little bit, but this closed strong yesterday.
The 20 though.
It did break the 20. It gapped up this morning. 2 no sell days. I mean, you feel it in the water. Yeah, it's coming around. I like it.
You feel it in the water, like Jaws.
That's a Lord of the Rings reference.
That's not. Wait a second.
But
we're talking about
remember
the
the rest
market
of it.
buying, and you bring in Jaws.
I was trying to
sharks
clarify
out there we need to worry about.
I needed to clarify that reference.
You know what they say, Tim. There's sharks in those hills.
The sharks in those hills. Can't do it. All right, let's keep flashing through the markets here. By the way, quick peek at the Dow, the Russell. I was looking at the sectors earlier. We're going to actually be doing our rankings today because of Good Friday tomorrow. The markets are closed, actually, and good time to tell everybody out there we won't be having the halftime report tomorrow because markets will be closed. But what are you seeing in these other indexes there, Tyler?
Dow. Here's what you have to like about this. And I don't know. I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, I swear we say the same thing every day on this halftime report, but it's because the market does the same thing again and again and again. I'm referring to sector rotation. So tech got punched, industrials took over. Today, the last couple of days, industrials are like, we're tired. We want to take a rest. And then the Nasdaq's like, I got your back. And I mean, look at the last 3 bars. The Dow's done nothing, and the Nasdaq is seeing this big pop. So it's so constructive. If this wants to go sideways while tech goes up 1.5–2% every day, that's fine. It's just setting up the next breakout. It's pretty. I like it.
Yeah, it's looking good. Relatively been stronger than for quite some time. Little hesitation as tech is rebounding is a part of that sector movement you've been talking about. Everybody gets a turn. That's kind of how the market's been for a while. Anything you want to add to the Russell? I know you watch this one like a hawk, Tyler.
If everybody gets a turn, I get a turn on the Dow.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say I'm going down hunting today because I love that technical pattern coming into a hesitation. I love it. You haven't broken one minor support level. You haven't broken an intraday support level. You're hesitating at the same breakout channel. I think you're going to have some good consolidation, hesitation breakouts in the Dow. And, what I've been talking about, and I can certainly see the Russell taking a step back, and I can certainly see some, maybe even the Dow taking a step back from, oh my goodness, everything's amazing. But my read on the market isn't violent sector rotation. I'm not saying Tyler's saying that. My read on the market is the market's bullish.
Yeah. Well, and in a bullish market, when one area pauses, another area picks up the slack, right?
Yeah, but my thing isn't the Dow is the one that's going to hesitate. My thing is the Russell 2000 is. So and because I think that, I'm not going to hesitate on that potential breakout in the Dow, whereas I will hesitate in the Russell 2000.
So what are your expectations here for the rut, guys? I mean, are you expecting kind of a neutral back and forth for a little bit? Is it kind of chews up some of the gains it had? Because it was such a leader there for 3 or 4 months. I mean,
I'll quickly go, and then I'll let Tyler kind of take over. He's the small cap king over there. But my read of the Russell 2000 is based on my reading of the Russell 2000 over the last 10 years and not just right now. The Russell 2000 does have history of disconnecting from the market at times. And I've seen it multiple times in the last few years. And when I mean disconnecting, I mean completely doing something different than what the market is doing. Market goes bullish, Russell stays neutral. Russell goes bearish, market's going up. I've seen that storyline multiple times. And the Russell 2000 is a leader in the marketplace. There's absolutely no doubt. But I just go back to, and I don't think the Russell's going to be bearish when the market's bullish, not in any capacity. In fact, I said worst case for Tyler today when he and I were talking was worst case is neutral for me right now on the Russell 2000, which is a pretty bullish case for the market, quite frankly. But when you're looking at the Russell, I've just seen too many scenarios where the Russell leads the market over a prolonged time period and then literally stagnates and lets the fundamentals catch up to it, or stagnates at the bottom and lets those fundamentals catch up to it. And the Russell had such an amazing movement in the market post-election. Just post-election, we're talking about in a short time period, guys, less than 6 months, we're talking about 25% gain there. Like that's really, really good price appreciation when you're talking about an index that houses what, 1,975 stocks right now.
Yeah.
So it's a massive pool of stocks out there, and it does take a little bit of time to get that pool of stocks moving. But when it does stop, it stops for quite some time. And so I feel like the Russell can go neutral for sometimes, kind of like crude oil. Crude oil can go neutral. Entire argument about energy is crude oil stabilization with energy catching up. You could say the same thing about the marketplace because of the leadership in the Russell 2000 post-election, simply getting ahead of its fundamental analysis. You could say that this marketplace, specifically IWM, hesitates, lets fundamentals catch up to it. Maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's shorter, we don't know, but the rest of the market performs and catches up to what the Russell did in the last post-election. And so I just feel like the Russell can hesitate similar to what crude oil did, whereas the rest of the market catches up a little bit.
Tyler, thoughts?
Yeah, I I don't have a problem with that theme or that theory. I don't have a strong opinion on this one, so I could make up something, but I do agree that if this does pause, it eventually goes higher with everything else. The Nasdaq over the last couple of weeks, we talked about could be a good parallel where it took a breather, everything else caught up. But I don't know what the actionable signal is on that. Like, does that mean I would avoid small caps? I don't know. I think it's just more.
And I don't think you avoid small caps. Like even in a small cap neutral condition, you're going to have good trends.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have individual components that are really, really, really still solid. Yeah, I'm talking index and not specific stock. I wouldn't hesitate on a specific stock trade. No, not at all.
Well, one thing that supports that is when you look at this from the perspective of a particular trading system that we follow, the cash flow condors. If you look historically, when you get, and this is just a different way of saying what you've already said, when you get multiple losing months on the condor because the stock goes straight up, there's always some normalization that happens after that. And so this is normalization, right? This is getting back to a longer term, more sustainable trend line. And so, yeah, to that extent, I would completely agree. That said, in the short run, it is breaking the 50-day moving average. It is breaking above a minor pivot. Obviously, it is well off of its highs still, and so it's got work to be done. But while it's above the 50-day, I just assume the path of least resistance is higher, and leave it at that.
Well, and well, think about it like this. Which ones are cleaner charts right now? The Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, or IWM?
Well, and that's where you won't. That's indisputable, right? So 100%.
But that goes entries. That goes to my point though, because when those charts are cleaner, what are all of us traders going to do?
You're going to gravitate.
We're going to gravitate to the clean charts, which means we're all leaving this one behind. It's not that we're saying, oh my goodness, the Russell's garbage. Not in any capacity. No. That's not the message. Yeah. What I'm saying is you have cleaner charts in those better time frames, and that's where traders are are going to go gravitate to is
Yep.
to find the better trade. And the better trade right now is, quite frankly, in the Dow breakout, in the Nasdaq momentum breakout,
Yep.
and that clean chart on the S&P.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, here's the thing. What you just said there, Matt, I think is the takeaway. The cleaner charts is where you're always going to be focused on. And the Dow, the S&P are looking a lot better. The S&P breaking into an all-time high, so absolutely. I'm wondering if we're going to catch that NQ breakout by the end of the show, by the way. We'll come back to it as we go.
Let's see the intraday.
Dude, it's riding the lightning. It's riding the lightning. We'll see. We'll see. Let's flash.
It depends on how confident the market is carrying through an extended weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You do have a longer weekend. You still have a jobs report tomorrow, by the way, because it's not an actual national holiday. It's just a bank holiday.
Let me give the news. We won't be here because the market's closed. So we won't be here. I'll give you the news. I don't care. Nobody cares. It's the jobs market.
Oh, jobs market.
Are you kidding me?
Driving the market.
Initial claims went up today. Go look at the price action in the S&P. It didn't matter.
It missed above expectations.
It missed. Market went up.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Aren't we in an environment where you make more money when you're unemployed anyways? I mean,
that's why the market does not care about labor numbers right there. It's like unemployed. Can we get more of that,
pay raise,
please?
Pay raise.
Yeah.
All right, let's flash you commodities here. Crude oil next, if we can. OPEC Plus is kind of finishing up their 2-day meeting. I know that I was reading through some of the news that was coming out of there, some speculation as to what they're going to be doing, but there was a lack of clarity on it, quite frankly. If you look at the intraday chart, you'll see a little bit of back and forth and hesitation here. Seems like Saudi Arabia is going to cut 250,000 barrels a day.
Nobody likes anything OPEC's saying in the last 24 hours.
No, they don't like it. They can't. Well, they can't.
They can't figure it out.
Figure it out. It's confusing.
Can't figure it out.
It's like some of them are going to add supply to the market. Saudi Arabia is going to cut supply to the market, but they're going to increase output in May and June by 350. It was like confusing.
Tim, it's really not if you know how OPEC behaves. When prices are lower, they're all supportive. When prices are higher, they all want more money. And so they start doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in the entire thing that me and Mark have been saying for years. As oil starts to appreciate, you start to see a little bit more of the Putin stepping aside, saying we're going to be doing our own thing here.
Mm-hmm.
When the markets are down, everybody's united and saying we got to help each other. And so you're just seeing that storyline play out yet again. And anybody that's been around the oil markets for any amount of time that is longer than a year understands how that song and dance routine works.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, anything in the chart grabbing your attention? I'm looking at the last 4 bars, which is this week's of trading. It's less volatile than the previous 4 or 5 bars, which brought it down to the 50. So it's kind of holding, moving into a neutral little consolidation here. What are you seeing in the chart?
Same. I don't tend to read too much into the day-to-day stuff when you're in a range. So I think you set your lines in the sand, and you say, crude oil, you do you. You let me know when you want me to pay attention by breaking one of these red lines. Until then, it's a nothing burger.
Nothing.
I agree with Tyler 100%. In a range, don't overanalyze the daily action. Your K-trade analysis. You wait for a break.
Mm-hmm. And you've got those lines on the chart. Everybody loves a good line, Tyler, when it's drawn.
I like
I did
Tyler's
just
lines.
redraw my line. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to have to redraw this a couple of times, but right now, those are my lines.
Those lines. I like those
you
lines.
You don't color your lines in pen.
That's right. That's right. Gold next, 2-day bounce off support here. We've been watching this gold chart for the last couple of days. Watch this thing testing down here. Matt, it went down to 1680, banged it yesterday. We had the nice little bounce day. Second bounce day here. Tyler's lines there are actually very good. He drew them yesterday, I remember, on this show. So we need to get a breakout of that pivot before it gets really too saucy. But you got to like what we're seeing here, Matt, especially with that relative strength in GDX that you guys have been talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is what you want to see. You want to see support hold. It was widely anticipated. Support was going to get tested this week. It did. It held. Now let's see if it can form a W formation and break out, and we can get some real. That's when the real analysis actually starts. It's like, yeah, I expect support to get hit. Yeah, I expect support. That's just par for the course, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that breakout, and if this W can't confirm, where the real magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
because we're not doing anything yet.
Not yet.
We're not front running anything yet. Mm-hmm. You don't front run a W that might be an inverted. That might be an inverted cup and handle.
I did.
You don't know yet.
gold miners a little bit.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah.
I called that one 2 days ago, so that's different.
Yeah. Well, it's a better chart. The GDX.
See, that's how it works, Ty.
Is a better chart.
I love it, dude. I love it.
That's how it works.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I said something positive about GDX 6 years ago. So
Did you? You've hated gold miners forever. What are you talking
crap
about?
Out of this.
What the reality is, GDX did show its sound by showing an
No, you're
increase
right.
before.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And wouldn't it be lovely if you could get gold and silver back into an uptrend? It would be a kumbaya market.
I promise you, I'm sending Tyler 15 minutes of my GDX analysis from 2 days ago later on today.
I missed the first part. I was too.
You'll get it when I send you my text message.
He's going to send you the video.
I'm going to send you the video.
The evidence.
30 seconds after.
That's 30 seconds after you're getting the video.
30 seconds after you send me that 15-minute video, I'm going to say, watch the whole thing. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love it. I love it.
All right. No more on the gold chart.
Okay. I do have a question though for Tyler on GDX versus gold. If we look at gold, you got to love the bounce at 1680. You got to love that bounce at 1680. When you look at GDX, you got to love the increase in support at 32.
Yes.
Both of them are at some fairly important resistance zones though. In all seriousness, right? We like the 32 increase in support, but you're at a point on that GDX chart that could stop this instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you break down the technicals a little bit on GDX as we fight that 50-day moving average? Because that's obviously what a lot of us that are looking at that 32 handle, this is the point where it's like, oh, it's testing us.
Yeah.
Can you break here? That's the concern here, Tyler.
Yeah.
Help me alleviate my concern at the 50.
I don't know if I'm going to alleviate the concern as much as I'll tell everybody why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, let's start with this. Look at how many other times this has put in a higher pivot low.
Yep.
And tried to bottom and ultimately just got punched in the face. So you don't know if this time's going to be different than the prior 4 or 5 or 6 times. You just know, look, at some point they've beaten something down so much that it's almost like, dude, eventually it's going to turn around just because that's what prices do. So you could make the argument it's been 6 months, gold is firming up, you've got some relative strength. You can make the argument, but the reason you don't bet the farm here is because this is somewhat anticipatory. We are kind of preempting the breakout. This is the type of situation where we talk about scaling in. You dip your toe in, and maybe you add if it rips. But if this turns out to fail, like the previous 7 attempts,
9 or how many? Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want my success to depend on my ability to pick which high or low is going to be the bottom.
And honestly, Tyler, I mean, we've seen this song and dance routine before with gold GDX over the last 6 months. You're pointing out those areas on the chart where we have seen those things. And, every single time they have failed in that 6 months. And not only that, Tyler, you were saying the same storylines in those moments in time. So the storyline today is not vastly different than the storyline in December.
Right.
Or the storyline in August, or the storyline in July from last year. And so you have the same storyline, the same technicals, and the same 50-day moving average that is scaring the dickens out of me. Yeah. And so, I do like the bounce at 32, but I love what you said just there about maybe you don't push those chips in, but you just dip that toe in a little bit just to make sure that 50 can get that the market can actually break that 50, because even if you break the 50, we ain't out of the woodwork until you get a higher low after that, because you've had 2 times that you violated the 50 and came right back down too. So this don't get me wrong, I like what's happening in GDX. I like that increase in support at 32. I like dipping the toe in here at the lower prices. I don't like that 50-day moving average. Like that's nerve-wracking for GDX and specifically for gold. So Tim, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about this, because we've maybe painted that 32 euphoria a little bit more aggressive than we are. We still got some concern here, and we still got some work to put in for this to get really clean. But again, when you're talking about bottoming charts, guys, none of them are clean. Everything's nasty at the bottom.
Well, I think it's a good one to take some time and clarify on, quite frankly, because I know a lot of people are watching this one. You know, a lot of people are anticipating the price action here and seeing what, and maybe even building investment plans around it. I know I am, because I like it. I'm interested in what gold miners do. And I did pick up some shares a few weeks ago, but that's a longer term investment.
Well, and
this will get a little bit better clarity if
you know, personally, 2 of those previous 4 times GDX and gold did it, I got a little fooled on it. Like, and so we're seeing the same thing. Like I'm excited about it, but again, we got some work to put in here on this chart before it gets really good.
Yeah,
I believe the phrase, Matt, is once bitten, twice shy.
That is the famous saying from the amazing philosophical. It's poison, but
is it poison?
Or Motley Crue or something like
one
that.
One of those hair bands. Who's your favorite hair band, Tyler?
Ooh,
AC/DC, Guns N' Roses.
You're asking the wrong person.
So the once bitten, twice shy is not a reference you brought from Poison.
Wait,
Matt and I
that wasn't. Wait a second, that wasn't from Plato.
Listen, I thought he was going to say Plato or something. I'm like, no kidding. I would have guessed.
I should have, but I thought Tyler knew that came from Poison.
No, I did not.
80s rock song.
I could have went with Socrates. I could have went on a whole thing that, you know, Socrates when he was talking to the Greeks.
I would have been like, I would have been lapping it up.
Oh
yeah,
man, I should have done it, Tim. I should have done it.
We could have had him good. All right, quick look at the dollar and Bitcoin. Yeah. Not much in the charts I think needs updating, but you guys tell me if there's anything.
Nobody cares about the dollar outside of in 3 months from now. Just get ready for every company to be complaining in their economic reports about price appreciation on the dollar. So that's that. Get ready for that one. But outside that, Bitcoin chart still forming.
Can I say one thing on the dollar here?
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
So what is different today, and I know it's just a small red bar, it doesn't change anything on UUP, but when you look at who's participating in the rally today, you are seeing a pretty nice jump in emerging markets. Foreign stocks are getting a bit of a boost. Connected or not connected, who cares? But that is one thing that has changed a little bit with today's rally.
Okay, so that's a wonderful point, Tyler. If every American corporation is going to start complaining about the dollar, what is every international corporation doing? Not complaining about the dollar. Right? Because if the dollar is going up, what's happening to the value of their currencies? Going down. Yeah. And in this environment, that helps their exporting, right? Right. So that does help emerging markets. The strengthening dollar is typically a little cold water on the S&P and a little tailwind for international markets.
I got to ask you guys a question on this Bitcoin thing next.
Do we got okay, do it.
I just dropped
it's
a
a
link,
Friday fun
Tyler.
Day on Thursday. Do it.
I dropped a link in Zoom. Can you please bring this up?
It's beautiful.
You know, okay, after we see this, I want to do a round table and each of us take one guess as to what we're going to guess what we think the announcement is.
Okay.
Because I just thought of a good one.
Okay.
And I don't know why it's not coming up. Hang on, let me copy paste.
Oh, we can talk about the huddle again. Okay.
It's too good not to look at it. All right. If you have kids or you were a kid at one point, maybe in the 1990s, potentially, you got grandkids, you might remember the Teletubbies, which I don't even know what to say. If you don't know who the Teletubbies are, it's hard to, Matt, explain the Teletubbies in one or two sentences.
Teletubbies. Do that. Wait a second.
Oh my God.
What?
It's nonsensical.
I can't do anything after you just did that. You want me to explain something? I want to go back to what you just did.
I don't know.
Get that cut and get that on every single audio drop we have at Tackle Trading, Tanya.
Teletubbies love Bitcoin.
I need a meme of all of this right now. Tim, in fact, I'm going to stop talking, Tim. You just bury yourself.
I saw this on Twitter. I could not help myself. More of the craziness surrounding Bitcoin continues here with our friends from
Tim, how much did you love Teletubbies when we were, I was going to say growing up, we were adults.
I didn't watch it as a kid. My daughter watched it when she was really young though, and I didn't like it. I'll tell you.
Who was your favorite Teletubby?
I
Bob?
think the yellow one. They
Bob-
don't have
Bob.
names.
Yellow was Bob.
Do they have names? I don't know enough about
Yeah.
Teletubbies. We were a SpongeBob family, bro. I mean, we were
Mm.
definitely more SpongeBob binging. But
So,
the Teletubbies are announcing.
They're buying Bitcoin?
No, we don't know. Uh-oh. What could the Teletubbies be possibly be hiding from us? Stay tuned for something big this week. Hashtag Bitcoin.
Is this a, oh my goodness, we're giving Bitcoin away if you download Teletubbies?
No. Here's the question. I love Tyler's premise.
Tyler, where you at? What's your theory here?
Everybody in Team Tackle, tell me, what do you think the Teletubbies are hiding from us regarding
And
to
obviously
Bitcoin?
it's Bitcoin. Like, where are they hiding it?
Tyler?
Listen, I think, how many Teletubbies are there? 4?
4?
I think they're going to introduce a 5th Teletubby.
A 5th Bitcoin Teletubby?
A Bitcoin Teletubby.
Oh, they're
And
going
every
for
and
that.
every
They're going
episode
for
he'll
that.
just every episode he'll read something from the Reddit thread on Bitcoin.
They're going for that.
He'll just chime in and say
merchandise
nothing relevant to the show,
money.
but he'll just read a blurb.
I
my God.
think Tubby Coin I'm getting from the chat.
Tubby coin? Tubby coin?
Tell
Who
us
said that?
Who
Who said that?
Is the car.
Is a card? Oh my God. Tubby coin? Oh my God. I would invest on the ICO. I would invest on the
An
ICO.
NFT of the
Tubby coin.
Teletubbies, somebody's
The
saying.
first Tubby meme.
I'm thinking they're going to tell us that the Teletubbies are
Dude.
actually Satoshi Nakamoto. They invented Bitcoin,
If
and they
they
hold
say-
if they hold $1 billion or something.
If they say Bob is Satoshi, I'm in. I'm in. The world is a better place with the Teletubbies, Bitcoin, and yeah, I'm in. It's awesome.
I'm going to stay tuned. I'm now
I-
following the Teletubbies on Twitter. So
I never thought I would ever follow the Teletubbies on Twitter. I'm going to do it. I'm not sure what that says about me.
that's true. That's true. Outside of that, Tubby Coin is going to be better than Dodgy Coin.
Tubby coin.
So,
Tubby coin is so good.
The kids are going to be all over that.
it is insanity. Jonathan's like the insanity that people call reality. LOL.
Oh man, Jonathan, I'm with you on that.
I'm with you. All right,
It's a crazy world when we're all sitting here in a halftime report talking about what are the Teletubbies going to tell us about Bitcoin.
And there's not much of the Bitcoin chart today, by the way. It's still hesitating at resistance, but heading into the weekend, very healthy chart. Tyler, Matt, anything you see there you want to add?
No, line it up. As long as those
Good.
intraday levels hold, line it up for a breakout.
I'd rather have the Teletubbies talk about Bitcoin than Elon Musk. I'll tell you that.
I would too. I would too. Usually when Elon talks about Bitcoin, I'm like, please, dude,
Stop.
We're on. We get it. We respect it. We love you. Just stop a little. When the Teletubbies do it, we're like, how many minutes do we dedicate on the halftime show to Teletubbies today? 15, 20?
10 or something.
Is this a contrarian signal?
The
Isn't there an old
buying
phrase
Bitcoin?
about
Yes.
once the Teletubbies
Tulips.
finally start talking about it, it's reached mass.
Yes,
critical
I'm
mass.
with you. It's tulips.
Stop. We're having
No.
fun.
Once once
Don't you bring logic and reason into
once
this
Tinky
conversation.
Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe get into Bitcoin,
Wait a
it's
second,
over.
there's not a Bob.
I don't
Tinky
know.
Winky. Bips.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
Oh, they're right there. The names are right there. Okay. Tinky Winky is my favorite.
Poe
now.
was my daughter's favorite, I believe.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Is that right? Maybe Tyler. I don't know. It's no more insane than all the other stuff that's happened around Bitcoin. So whatever
True.
it ends up being, that will end up
I'm
marking.
gonna tell you, talking about the Teletubbies and Bitcoin is not the craziest thing I've talked about on the halftime report in the last year.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Hertz. That was
Yeah,
GameStop.
I'm telling you, Hertz is a crazier storyline than Teletubbies and Bitcoin.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right,
Who owns Teletubbies?
ooh.
Nobody owns them. They're
Are they,
Teletubbies.
what station are they on?
Are they PBS?
The
Oh, it's probably
BBC.
PBS.
Are they BBC?
BBC.
Yeah.
Now I don't know who has the licensing rights now. They might be streaming all kinds of places for all I know. But yeah, BBC original. So yeah.
All right.
All right, enough with the Teletubbies. I had a good
Tubby
chuckle.
coin, though, was fantastic.
Tubby
That made
coin
my
makes
day.
me tinky
Is a
winky.
car that was amazing.
All right, let's move into stock talk here. There's a couple economic data points that didn't tell me much of anything.
ISM good.
Very
Initial
strong.
claims bad. ISM is the one you're focusing on, and that was a strong manufacturing report.
Yeah, manufacturing's been strong now for quite some time.
I haven't seen a manufacturing miss for a while.
It's been a bit. It has been a bit. But no inflation yet. They always cite higher prices and higher cost and supply. Every time I read a report, I'm like, okay, yeah. Anybody who says no inflation, talk to every purchasing manager in the country. Like, no, there's inflation. All right, let's talk stocks here today, guys. Quite a few things I want to get to in stock talk. One of them is the earnings roundup. Matt, Micron, you mentioned it. You had a chance to look at this report, I believe.
I did.
Pretty important one.
Let's go ahead and take a look at Micron here. Micron's going to find a little bit of 95 resistance level here. You could see a snapback coming into 90. We'll see how that performs on that gap. But I don't think, for me anyways, it wasn't what Micron's report was for Micron, because I don't trade Micron or invest. It's what Micron represents to the semiconductors in that storyline there, because that storyline has been so important about the growth storyline, right? That growth storyline as it's tied to the bond market and why the Nasdaq's been performing the way it has. And Micron comes out today and they say, we understand your concern, but we're still going to report 98 cents against 96. We're still going to report 6.2 billion versus 6.2 billion in expectation. We're still going to report 30% increase in year-over-year growth, which is fantastic. And not only that, but we're going to up our guidance by 25%, substantially EPS, and do a fairly decent chunk of an upgrade on revenue guidance as well. And that's where the storyline really is here today for Micron. It's not in the raw numbers. The raw numbers were fine, but the raw numbers, nobody's going to look at the raw numbers and say, oh, a 2-cent beat on EPS is good for Micron. No, that's in the wheelhouse. That's an average performance against on EPS and on revenue, 6.2 billion versus 6.2 billion. But it's where the guidance is. You saw a massive increase in guidance, up 25% increase in EPS guidance. You saw revenue guidance increase quite dramatically as well. And what Micron is signaling is the growth concerns are a little, we've focused a little too much on the growth concerns pertaining to the Nasdaq. And when we've been talking about that Nasdaq recovering and the multiple time frame analysis, you were looking at the semiconductors just a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how the semiconductors were front running the Nasdaq a little bit, and now Micron comes out today. The concern is dissipating in the Nasdaq. You're starting to see it based on the price action in the Nasdaq, but you're also starting to see it psychologically a little bit in other areas of the market that would impact the Nasdaq, such as Micron here. So Micron, to me, it's still neutral in the short term. Cook a little bit. 95 can line up for a really good breakout, but I do think we got to be a little patient as we let that set up on Micron. But for me, the storyline is in the increasing guidance from both an EPS and a revenue perspective, and what that represents for the growth concerns that we've been having specifically in the Nasdaq. And I think those concerns are alleviated a little bit more post Micron than they were before Micron reported.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In kind of consecutive news as well, though, the earnings report came out. Then the Wall Street Journal did also report that Micron's in talks with potentially buying some Japanese semiconductor firm as well.
There was, honestly, I was going to give that story next too, but they're kind of all in the same area though, because when I'm talking about the growth concern, right, in the Nasdaq. Well, here's Micron, increase in guidance. But not only that, you have mergers, M&A activity. You have hints of M&A activity. And when you have hints of M&A activity, which is merger and acquisition, that's a company showing you we're not concerned about the future. If they're concerned about the future, they don't talk about acquiring other companies at the top of the price chart, right? So you have Micron and a couple other companies. Yeah, I believe it's Western Digital is the other
WDC
company,
is rumored.
WDC. And so you have Micron and WDC hunting Japanese semiconductor companies. So you do have that merger and acquisition. That's an obviously positive thing for the space itself, positive for these two companies, but positive for the space itself. It alleviates that growth concern. And then in the same vein of thought, though, you have Taiwan Semiconductor today. TSM here, Tyler, if you don't mind. Taiwan Semiconductor, and quite frankly, I think the news out of Taiwan Semiconductor, for me, anyways, might trump the news that came out of Western Digital and Micron today. Taiwan Semiconductor to invest $100 billion simply to increase their supply capacity. Guys, in the infrastructure plan that Biden put out, they have like probably, I would say, we don't know the detail, but I'd say a good $200 billion to increase supply side infrastructure for semiconductor companies. Here's Taiwan Semiconductor, one company saying we're doing $100 billion
in the next 3 years.
And so I want to remind Americans out there, before we complain about the infrastructure plan, realize Taiwan Semiconductor is putting $100 billion into their supply side capacity itself, one company. And so I think Taiwan is saying, hey, listen, yeah, we get the concerns here, but we know we're in a moment, and that moment is if we fix these supply side concerns that we've had, we're to the moon here. Taiwan signaling it, Biden signaling it with the infrastructure plan. I think I think the growth concerns we've had continually get alleviated. And now the storylines people are talking about right now, Tim, they're not the same they were 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about headwinds. 3 storylines today, all in semiconductor, all talking about positive growth storylines. The market, again, is showing its cards. It's not as concerned about the growth as one might think based on the news over the last few weeks.
You know, and Taiwan Semiconductor is such a fundamentally sound company. You know, you saw the chart weakening, but you're like, okay.
Taiwan and Applied Materials are 1A and 1B for me.
Bang, here we are. Now we're already starting to show some reversal characteristics. But both
and
of those
you're also
charts,
talking Taiwan is a tackle 25 stock. Applied Materials is a tackle 25 stock. These are the two cream of the crop. I love them both. So, yeah, I love what Taiwan's doing today. It's fantastic news.
Yep, semis are leading here today on a lot of the backs of this news. A couple other ones. CarMax reported earnings. I didn't really see much there, Matt. Inline revenue. I
got their numbers. 127 versus 124, 5.2 versus 5.2. Revenue went up 4.1%. It wasn't exciting at the top end of the chart. And over the last quarter, guys, this is a company that's up 38% in the last quarter. You got to show me. CarMax came in at average. They didn't show me. The difference between Taiwan and CarMax is very, very, very simple. Or not Taiwan, but Micron. Very, very simple. Micron has an increase in guidance. CarMax doesn't. CarMax is at the top end of the chart, whereas Micron had a little weakness in the short term. CarMax has to show me. They don't. Micron came out with guidance. They showed us. They went up. CarMax went down. This is exactly how it should happen.
So the report kind of felt like they needed to birdie and they bogeyed.
You're up 38%. You did it. No, they needed to birdie. Yeah, you said it. They needed a birdie. They got a bogey. No, they came in at par. They needed a birdie and they came in at a par.
I thought I'd just get you excited about golf this weekend.
Like you got me. I mean, we're talking big weekend coming up, so you did get me. But yeah, they needed a birdie to extend. They came in as par. They didn't get it done.
All right, a couple other ones here. Microsoft, they've been putting money into research and development into this area for years without much.
Is it go time, Tyler?
Dude, I mean, I don't know if you were waiting for this consolidation to break. I don't know what more you want.
I got excited about the breakout, Tim. Go ahead, give the news.
It is exciting. I mean, the chart is going to grab your attention right there every time. Here's simple bit of the news. They are making really, really cool, very advanced HoloLens augmented reality headsets for the U.S. Army. Getting into this. Contracts with the Army. I mean, this is on the backs of a $10 billion contract they had with the Pentagon last year. And this is a $22 billion contract with the Army. They've been putting money into the R&D behind this project for quite some time. And now another revenue
could you
boost.
imagine now we're going to assess Microsoft as a defense company?
a defense
Holy
contractor.
cow.
Well,
We assess Microsoft as the blue chip of every industry, and now defense. Oh my goodness. It makes me hate Boeing even more.
it makes me cement Microsoft as 1A. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, me too. Me
I
too.
mean, just,
It's one, everybody else is two.
yeah. Tyler, what did get you and Matt so excited about that chart when you instantly saw it? Kind of walk us through that, because I'm with you guys, but tell me what you're seeing.
Gross wares.
Well, so two things. I mean, number one, when you look at the Nasdaq, the whole premise here, the theme we've been talking about is the Nasdaq trying to wake up and seeing a breakout. This has been under the 50-day moving average for like a month. Meanwhile, Microsoft has been kind of above the 50 MA most of that time, right? So it's been a leader. It has sucked less than the Nasdaq over the last month, so it's already exhibiting relative strength, but it was a mess the whole time. Like, it didn't really give you any clean signals to go ahead and jump aboard. This is the first. I mean, this is now. If this turns out to be a bar like March 23rd, then shame on Microsoft. But I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're far enough above resistance where it's probably going to close above, say, 240. If that happens, it's the best technical signal you've received since Microsoft topped. So from a charting perspective, if you were waiting for it to make up its mind and get through the digestion, the consolidation, and break, today is what you were waiting for. And wasn't it nice that yesterday it had a really nice high volume bar to kind of give you a heads up that maybe something was coming? It's like a Teletubbies tweet. Yesterday was like a Teletubbies tweet, little tease saying, hey, something's coming down the pike, and it only made you wait one day.
Poe's bringing the sauce today. I like it. I think what excited me here, Tim, was you got some wick craziness here. And that when you have wick craziness on a breakout, it shows me the market doesn't actually have courage.
Yeah.
They didn't have the courage of the conviction. They had conviction. They bought the breakout. They had conviction, but they didn't have the courage to hold it. And so if you get if you get Microsoft breaking out and finishing towards the highs, I do think that is an extremely positive signal on the backs of the news and on the backs of what Tyler indicated is the increase in volume, and on the backs of what Tyler was talking about in terms of front running and performing better than its counterparts in general. And so I think that's what stood out to me there. And I just reiterate what Tyler said. I think both of us are looking at the same thing.
Yeah, and well, I got a simple question though. That 246 level, does that concern you guys at all?
No,
to hesitate?
not for me. It doesn't.
Yeah, me neither.
No, I mean, look, if old resistance is going to concern you, you're never going to buy a stock unless it's at an all-time high. So
yeah,
deal with it, Timmy. Put your big boy pants on, and you're going to be fine. Okay,
Timmy the Teletubby.
That's right.
Timmy
Actually,
would be a good name for
Tinky
that.
Winky Timmy.
Timmy and Poe. Timmy's best friend is Poe.
I'm gonna have to watch some Teletubbies, I guess. I don't know. I get my girls in here. We'll do something around that.
Timmy Poe Justice.
Timmy Poe, dude. That's not right.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Next one here. Let's keep moving through. Exxon Mobil, they have not reported earnings. We are going to be moving into earnings season couple here today, but Exxon actually signaled, in a press release that they believe that higher oil prices and gas prices are going to put them into their first profitable quarter in 5 quarters. We knew this is going to be coming down the pipeline. I'm actually very much eagerly anticipating earnings season, especially for these oil names and some of the energy names, Matt. Pretty constructive chart in my personal opinion, but I'm biased. I own Exxon. Matt, is there a trade above that pivot right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted more analysis?
No, Tyler?
Okay, very quickly. It'll be discussed in the scout report meeting. That was very quickly, Tyler. It'll be discussed in the scout report meeting.
It's just funny when you ask him a question and he says no, and you don't listen to his answer.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go do your piece.
No, I'm good. No, that's it. It's going to be discussed. I like the increase. I like that breakout potential.
Yes is the answer. Yes is the trade over the pivot. Yes.
Yeah, I like it as well. Ford supply chain storyline here today. We've had these for quite some time. Kind of got the stock stuck here the last 2 weeks or so. They're planning more downtime for several U.S. factories because of the global shortage of semiconductors for the production. They had to shut down an F-150 factory a couple weeks ago, got it back up online. Now they got to shut it down again. We're going to continue to see this until this, semiconductor story kind of goes away. It's going to take some time. Tyler, that's now kind of consolidated. Has the changing character in the chart made it so where that's a different pattern for you? How would you approach it?
I think yes. I don't know. I don't know. The GM's gone up a lot. My thought was just going to be, what is Ford a momentum stock forevermore, or was this just a circumstantial thing, and is it going to go back to being a little more boring? I'm leaning towards the second of the two. So this to me is not that interesting. I think it has pulled back enough, primarily just the 20-day moving average. I mean, this pullback has lasted longer than quite a few of its predecessors. Yeah, you're probably going to get into something a little bit messier. So I don't know if I'm as interested on a breakout over 1250. That would be the trigger for me if I was buying this dip. But again, you look at this compared to all the other stuff going on, and that's really what does it for me. Is I just think there's so many better charts that I don't know that I want to bottom fish this dip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's fair. Yeah. I mean, it did not hold the 20s, kind of rolling in. I think there's something still there if somebody wanted to play that little break above the line, but you don't have to try to bottom feed here as well. I see Coach Frank pop in, which is a wonderful transition to kind of moving towards the end of the show. Frankie, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, team? Good to see you guys.
Right?
Yeah, we just barely got done with the news. Literally just last story I had written on my piece of paper that we are going to talk about. So, Frankie, welcome. It's the last trading day of the week. You usually hang out with us on Fridays. It's a Thursday, but welcome out anybody. What are you watching for in these markets, Frank?
I mean, pretty much the same thing you guys are. Really, I mean, you love the strength that we've seen in the semiconductors, right? I mean, I'm old school. I always like when the semiconductors are moving bullish, right? Even if I'm not trading them, I still think that's healthy for the market. We're getting some interesting things. You've seen the same things like you're talking about Exxon Mobil. That's a very, very common pattern in the energy sector. You're seeing that on a whole bunch of stocks. One that really has caught my eye is APA in the energy sector. So that's one I'm going to be pitching a little later today. And I'm looking at them primarily on their weekly chart. I think, Ty, you're a man of we kind of dealing with that Cody special, right? We were dealing with it last week too. I think I probably brought it up on Friday. No confirmation. Now we're still hanging there, another little candle. So this one kind of jumped out, but there are lots of options, and there are many, many things that look very, very close to that Exxon over in the energy space. So that's definitely one thing that jumped out to me. The pullback in XLP in the staples sector, definitely in an interesting location, right? If we kind of a weird Cody special too, right? Breakout, pullback, hammer at that old resistance as it tests that as a support level. It's the staple sector, right? So it is, what it is. But you have things like Pepsi, for example, have been very strong lately. One more feed. There you go. And it's kind of sitting right on that 9 EMA on that little three bar pullback. So there are some pullbacks shallower, but fast shallow, if that makes sense, in some of the stocks over in that space. The healthcare plans, the Humanas, the Anthems, the UNHs of the world have just been really, really strong lately. UNH is the one that stood out to me, Ty. Again, placement matters to me. Breakout, pullback, trying to find its footing on that breakout. So there are definitely some interesting charts out there going into this upcoming week with kind of the market action that we've seen. One of the things that I definitely noticed was it's tough to find, great new entries in semis, right? We had that breakout on SMH. I know you guys talked about that a lot this week, had that, confirmed yesterday, then gap up on the open. So it does kind of make the charts a little tough broadly speaking, without a little bit of development. But you do have, things like Qualcomm. I saw people talking about that in the chart, not exactly in that space 100%, but certainly in that ballpark, showing some reversal characteristics. So might need to let some things develop for the semis, broadly, but you got to love that strength that we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Qualcomm chart, by the way, Tyler, was on your option report over the weekend. We had that one on as a reversal candidate and characteristics. It's been developing nicely through the week. A little pop here today above that little pivot point. So yeah, good. Frankie, what happened in Trade Masters last night?
I think Greg sucker punched us. He came in, saying everything he had looked the same, and he was just going to mail it in, and then he just came out swinging. He had jokes, he had charts, so he went home with the championship.
So defending the belt the first week, Greg came out swinging, and our Canadian friend, the old money Holmes, he gave you the old sucker punch, huh?
Listen, I'm always going to have a hard time winning Trade Masters because Mark is the ultimate judge, and Mark and I, we just have different styles, very different styles, right? And so it's hard for me to win him over. I'll get there. I should have brought up one of his little stocks that I've been following. Maybe that would have got me there. I think it's UEC, the little uranium company. UEC. I brought it up to him before the show. Maybe I should have brought that up for one of my options, and that would have got me.
Well, that would have got you the win. But Trade Masters winner can't just be lobbing naked puts on implied volatility stocks that have 180% that only nobody should do. that can't be the winner on Trade
everything,
Masters.
Right? Yeah, it can't be everything.
Can't be the winner on Trade Masters.
No, but Greg had some really good trade setups. There's some interesting cash flow plays that Dean brought. So it was fun. Most importantly, it was fun. I mean, I don't care if I win or lose. I figure I win by getting to hang out with the team, stealing a few trade ideas. I think I'm fine. I like a championship belt as much as anybody, but I think I'm there for the good time.
Listen, if we keep getting judge complaints, we might have to audit the judge, Tim.
I was just thinking.
I'm just saying this might be a Japanese Russian judge situation.
You will notice that I didn't complain about Judge Mark last week when I won. It was this week when I lost that I was doing the complaining. There might be a little bit of that too.
Happen too. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Obviously, we're going to be doing all of our rankings here today, guys. Still going to be putting reports out on the website on Saturday through the weekend. We're going to be having a fun, long holiday weekend. Everybody out there.
I'm going to tell you right now, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You want to win a game? UEC's winning trash for cash on Monday.
Yeah, trash that makes cash.
That breakout's pretty.
Yeah, that's a nice little. Yeah, that's usually not my thing, but I really do like that chart on UEC. And
I'll beat it for the scout report because it's under 5.
Mm-hmm.
But sure. I would be tempted.
Yeah, and Mark trades them, and he says that they've got some pretty decent little premiums too. I mean, I've just played the stock play, but at $3.
Yeah, but let's stay on the stock play here.
That's where I would go.
Simple equity play. I think
we don't need to sell a $1.50 naked put here.
So what do you think, Maddie? Just one or two charts, and then I know
I would love to.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I got to get Maddie's take on ETR. This is a little breakout on a utility play. So I mean, it's utilities, and usually that doesn't get you excited. But there's so many things, including the $100 breakout that's going on with this chart, Matt, that I'm interested. Even though it is utilities.
I'll tell you, Frank does have some concerns with how Mark trades and judging Trade Masters. But if I was the judge of Trade Masters, Frank might never lose because I love the breakout king here. In fact, Tyler and Frank, I want to be the judge of Tyler and Frank. I might just lose my mind. Just beautiful breakouts everywhere. But yeah, Frank, you got that $100 mark here. That's always going to be a significant number. That's right in the zone of the 200-day moving average. You have a hesitation in utilities, and nobody's ever going to get excited for price direction in utilities, but utilities have been cooking recently. And if you're looking for something in utilities and staples, we typically don't see staples move the way it has, but staples have been cooking lately. So if you're looking for something in utilities, you could do far worse than finding a breakout of a 200-day moving average after consolidation that's also $100.
Exactly. At the old pivot to boot. And,
yeah,
I always like the I always like the second run at the 200. I always assume the first one is a failure. The first time,
especially a utility stock that goes 13% into a breakout.
Yeah, but even more generally, I always assume that's the case. That my breakout plays on the two when you break above the 200 is always the second one. The first one, if it just runs through it, I just wave at it and wish everybody.
Yeah, and again, it's utilities. We're all going to give that disclaimer, right? It's utilities, but I do like the breakout potential here.
So yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. I still like the reversal characteristics that we're seeing on Ball Corp as well. BLL. We talked this one last week. We talked it last night. Seeing some nice movement into resistance into that 50-day moving average.
That 50. That's a little short-term head and shoulders formation, violating a horizontal neckline that also coincides with the 50-day moving average, which has been a major resistance level. That's a beautiful potential reversal on Ball. That's great. Frank Hunt's like there's not a hunter like Frank. He is the best hunter at tackle trading.
He's the lead bird dog.
He hunts.
It's fun. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I love looking at stock charts, but I am a big fan of that Ball.
Tyler's like, wait
a minute. Now, good,
I need
Tyler.
a hunt.
Get to work.
Get hunt, bro.
So I thought that was an interesting one. I did have interest in the UNH pullback and the APA that we talked about a little bit earlier.
What about Verizon?
Let's look at Verizon.
Verizon's a beautiful snapback.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yeah, absolutely. I think you could get in, and you played the breakout, right?
Hammer candle on the 200. That's
yeah. This was a TradeMasters pick last.
Yeah, so I was there, right? You threw it at me, wasn't enough?
Oh, that was you. Yes.
This is the perfect snapback retracement. Then you're coming into the 200-day moving average on a reversal. Yeah. That's go time. It's one of those. If not now, then when?
Right.
Yeah. Answer that question.
Yep.
If it's not now, then what do you need to go?
Right.
So
yeah, it's
like if you need Verizon to break out, you're making a mistake on Verizon.
No, I do like that chart. Kind of a similar type of look as Air Products, APD, obviously a different space, but kind of a similar, broke above the 200, drifted back into the rising 9 just north of it, seeing a confirmation candle today, and that kind of mimics in it's a little behind, but it does kind of mimic the sector ETF.
Yeah, it is a little behind, but if we're looking at hammer candles off the 200, I do like the Verizon hammer a little bit more than I like Air Products there.
So fair enough.
Different stocks, but
different places, right? Yeah, two very, very different different creatures for sure.
Your stock trade masters. You got a show later. See you pop in.
I did pop in. And I got the Pfizer vaccine, the first jab yesterday.
Oh, there you go, buddy. Congrats.
And I feel like I've drank about 4 gallons of cough medicine this morning.
Ooh.
So, but I will do my best in an hour and 20 minutes.
Wait, no. This is going to be fun.
No, listen, side effects.
You got that Tussin head, huh? Okay.
I did about 3 hours after the Pfizer PFE, so.
Does that mean buy or sell Pfizer?
Well, talk to me in 24 hours.
I so want to have a very detailed conversation with Mark right now.
Nope.
But Mind of a Trader at the closing bell, an hour and 20 minutes. Going to go over commodities, going to go over any last second trade adjustments in a shortened week. Always enjoy the show. It's very chill, very relaxed. And, members oftentimes bring some really good picks. So.
Awesome. Congrats on your vaccine, bro.
Yeah. Dina says the day after you feel a bit funky, you'll be right as rain tomorrow. I believe.
Yeah, my wife felt funky the day after too.
Yeah. Frankie, did you have one more? Any more? You good?
I always have more, but we could be going
Frank's
forever.
Got 148 more stocks.
I know he's got a whole list.
I have
10 minutes.
Yeah, so. You guys are gonna love me as I'm making you
spend
all Thursday.
This is what I have to ask Frank. Frank, do I have to scan today?
I don't think you're gonna have
I've only done about 10% of my scanning because I got caught up in huddle and halftime report stuff.
Sure.
So I don't have scan. Frank's prepared.
I've got plenty to talk about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good. See, that's how much I trust Frank.
I agree.
He's one of the best.
We got bird dogs. We got some of the best bird dogs in the marketplace, quite frankly.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for letting me come hang out last few minutes. I was hoping to make it, so I'm glad I was able to. And have a great 3-day weekend, everyone.
Yeah, let's start wrapping this one up. Matt, anything for the team out there?
Honestly, I don't think there's anything. Don't get me wrong, we love trading, but doesn't traders love their 3-day weekend just like every other profession out there loves their 3-day weekend?
Bro, of course.
Like,
I call my family and I'm like, let's
3-day
whiteboard.
weekends.
Let's whiteboard this. We got Friday, we got Saturday, we got to have a garage day. I want to hit the driving range.
I don't need to worry about the market. I just get to worry about currency stuff internationally. Like fantastic. But no, 3-day weekends, guys. Everybody have an absolutely fun, safe holiday weekend. I know our family likes to do some stuff for Easter, so enjoy the weekend tackle trading. We love you guys. Just be safe, and we'll be back with you on Monday in the halftime report. But between now and then, you got scouting reports. Get your weekend routine done, guys, because those scouting reports are going to be primed with awesome picks coming into this week, guys. Frank, I lied. I have done some scanning, and there's some really, really good picks coming into the week.
There's some good setups out there for sure.
We're gonna have to veto good quality technical setups, guys.
Yeah.
We're also going to have to do some vetoes on earnings, I think. Are we that
Oh,
close?
you're so excited.
We're close.
You stop. You're so excited.
It'll be next week that you can really enjoy that, Tim. This week you might get 1 or 2, but starting next week, you'll be having a field day in there.
Yeah, he'll be a kid in a candy store. Blue check mark.
He does love to
Tim,
veto.
stop looking at Twitter. No, the other blue check mark. So let's go. But yeah, I'm gonna have fun in scout report meeting. It's my favorite 2-3 hours of the week.
The only thing I'm thinking about right now is when is my mother going to call me today? And
Dude,
what kind of shenanigans is she going to try to pull?
She's gonna do a joke that you shouldn't do at her age.
Tim, I just got arrested.
No,
she's done that before, Frank. Tim, I just got pulled over. I need you to come and get me. No,
dude, I've had Tim, Matt, your aunt died. Like I've had that from.
She will go wherever she's
full on trickster mode, huh?
You don't do that joke anymore. Like that's just like post COVID. We don't do that joke right now.
Mom, she's gonna try.
Don't do that joke, Mom.
She's gonna try to get us somehow. I know it. So I'll keep an eye out for that. Have a wonderful weekend.
She has no level. She will not go in an April Fool's joke.
Not if she can win.
She's
so competitive.
She does. She commits.
If she can win, she's gonna get it.
My aunt died for 48 hours one year.
So yeah, I'm looking at the chat here. Nothing too much. Guys, have a wonderful 3-day weekend.
Listen, by the way, while we still have the chat, I mean, Poison, Matt, on Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
Am I wrong?
Very much wrong. It was Great White. It was like Great White's only hit. Come on now.
My bad. Egg on face.
I thought, you had me fooled, Matt. I was going with Poison.
Frank, did you have to ruin? Like I had the veil of ignorance on Tyler. Nobody would have known.
Do you think the Teletubbies are just pulling an April Fool's joke?
Listen, I'm not trusting anything today. I already got fooled a couple times just by random things on the. So
that's actually a good point, Tim. It might just be there may not be a follow-up tweet.
But why would the Teletubbies have Bitcoin in their
Well, I have a better question. Why wouldn't the Teletubbies have Bitcoin in their tweet?
I agree with that.
Talking about
And a rocket to the moon, as Matthew pointed out earlier.
That's funny. All right, we're wrapping. We're out.
All right, we're out.
Have a great weekend,
Love you guys.
Have a great weekend.